Hi guys, it's Nikki with Nikki Speaks, and I am back with another video. We're going to be getting into the Epstein files and everything that goes along with that and the new names that were mentioned in those files. But before we get to that, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Okay guys, let's get right into it. So as we know, the DOJ, the Trump administration, has been under fire by both Democrats and Republicans over the past few months and since Trump took office in terms of letting those Epstein files become a part of public knowledge. They have been wanting to know who's in it, what high-ranking officials are involved so that they can be held accountable and held under the fire. Well, the Trump administration has been slowly dragging their feet in releasing those files and releasing those individuals. A lot of people seem to think that it's because Trump himself is implicated heavily in those files. Well, here's the thing. Trump has started releasing those files over the past couple of months or so. He's been releasing information piece by piece by piece. And to our surprise, or to our no surprise, President Trump was not implicated in any of the documents that he's released so far. Now, there has been a few mix-ups where some information has kind of gotten out that they unintentionally released but immediately went back and deleted. We'll get into that in a whole separate video. But this recent release of information and names is very surprising because there's two names on there. One that people may have been trying to push a narrative about, but then one that's just a total shock to everyone in the hip hop community. That's going to be Jay-Z and Pusha T. So Jay-Z and Pusha T were listed in the Epstein files, and you have a lot of people on the internet that's just not buying it. For instance, one person said, wait a GZ minute, I just reread and they trying to say Jay-Z was on Epstein Island in 1994. What? So you want me to believe he was a street hustler in Marcy Projects before he recorded a song, before he was even known locally? He was involved with some of the most powerful people, the same dude who couldn't get a record deal in the industry, so they had to make Rockefeller. So listen, this person is not believing what's being put out there at all. But then on the other side of the coin, you have MAGA Republicans, high advisor to Donald Trump, that's trying to push this narrative to all of the hip hop outlets and all of the news media. Now, a lot of news media when this first dropped, they did post about it. I know the Shade Room posted about it, the Neighborhood Talk did, TMZ did, and they immediately went back and retracted all of this information. So let's start with this agenda being pushed by MAGA. Alex, I'm not going to even attempt his last name, who is an advisor to Trump, a high advisor to Trump, he tweeted out in a series of several tweets. So this is not his only one, but all of them are pretty much saying the same thing. For instance, this one says, pretty crazy that entertainment news accounts such as TMZ, who write tweets and articles criticizing Nicki Minaj's every move, are totally silent on Jay-Z showing up in the Epstein files. Not a single tweet or mention of that from them. What's up with that? Now, TMZ did report about this, but they did delete it. And it could be because, as somebody pointed out on the DOJ's website, it does say this production may include fake or false submitted images, documents, or videos, as everything that was sent to the FBI by the public was included in the production that is responsive to the act. Some of the documents contain untrue and sensationalist claims, and it goes on to talk about how these claims may be false, how they could possibly be false. So what that's pretty much saying is some of the information that's being released that's on that website is not accurate. It's not true. And so they're covering their behinds, but still throwing up smoke and mirrors to distract you guys from the real culprits. So they're accusing and implicating these people that most likely are innocent, and they're defaming their character and their name with some heinous accusations, but covering themselves by saying, hey, some of these may not be true. They're just tips that came in. But in the same breath, there's a lot of information that's being withheld. And there's also a lot of true information that's kind of mixed in with all of this false information, Because if you do read through some of the information that was released, there are text messages, there are emails, and these individuals that were texting Epstein and that were emailing him, they were emailing him some very incriminating things. Bill Gates is incriminated in these documents heavily. So it's some really nasty stuff. Donald Trump was also incriminated, but they immediately went in and deleted. And when I say they, I mean the Department of Justice. When they realized that they had not retracted that information or redacted that information about Trump, they immediately went in and redacted it and removed it from the DOJ's website. I mean, you can definitely kind of form your own opinion surrounding the information that the government is releasing in response to everyone wanting to know who's in the Epstein files. You can kind of formulate your own conclusions, your own opinions based on what they're giving us. Some of the stuff, in my opinion, is just not adding up. I personally don't believe that a 96 Jay-Z was just chilling or kicking it on Epstein Island. I don't believe that for a second. I mean, the connection just isn't connecting to me. If there was a connection between the two at that time, just as the individual on the internet said, I don't think that it would have been such a hard time for Jay to get a record deal. I also don't think that with the things that were going on, the crimes that were being committed on that island, I don't think that would have been entrusted to this low-level drug dealer from Marcy Projects. I personally don't think that the type of things, the type of people that were coming through the doors of Epstein Island were high-ranking officials. They were senators. They were attorney generals. They were people that were very, very important. And you're not going to subject them to somebody like Jay-Z in 1996. That's just my opinion. We didn't have billionaire Jay-Z then. We didn't even have millionaire Jay-Z in 1994. And 1994 was also referenced in these documents. But you guys let me know what you think down in the comment section. Tell me, let me know if you think that, Jay-Z was implicated appropriately. You believe the information there, or if you're not buying it either. Drop your comments in the comment section and I'll talk to you guys on the next video.